Hello everyone. Welcome to this podcast on the impact of Trump tariffs. This podcast deals with the application of some of the basic economic concepts. So it presumes the awareness of those concepts. Let us begin with a small news item which appeared in the newspapers recently. Those who are interested to read the news fully, please pause here and continue watching after you finish reading. The news clipping was dealing with imposing fresh tariffs on imported cars. To understand the concept of tariffs, let us look at how the market equilibrium for imported cars will be before imposition of the tariffs. What follows is a demand-supply equilibrium model for imported cars. The x-axis measures quantity demanded and supplied of imported cars. The y-axis measures the prices of imported cars at different equilibrium points. This is the typical downward sloping demand curve, upward sloping supply curve. Equilibrium price is given by the line connecting between the intersection point and y-axis. So that is the equilibrium price. Equilibrium quantity is given by the line connecting between the intersection point of demand and supply curves and x-axis. That is the equilibrium quantity. The market for imported cars are expected to clear at this equilibrium point. That is, all consumers are fully satisfied with the utility they receive from consuming imported cars, and all producers are satisfied with the profits they make by exporting cars. Their satisfaction is represented by the triangles of consumer and producer surpluses respectively. So these are the triangles. So this is the fundamental equilibrium model for imported cars. We move on from here to the tariffs era. Now we will analyze the impact of tariffs. We are using the same demand and supply equilibrium model used previously. Now notice carefully what happens to the equilibrium price after the introduction of tariffs. These are all which used to be there in the previous equilibrium, so no explanation required. Now, after introduction of the tariffs, the prices of imported cars go up to factor in the impact of tariffs, as represented by a dotted line connecting between y-axis and the demand curve in the model. Obviously, this dotted line touches the demand curve at a higher point than the previous equilibrium point. At this point, the quantity demanded is less than the previous equilibrium quantity, as represented by the dotted line from the new higher price point in the demand curve and to the x-axis. That is where it is. Now you can see that the new quantity demanded after introduction of tariffs is less than the earlier equilibrium quantity. Now see what happens to the consumers and producer surpluses, as can be seen in the respective areas. So that is the consumer surplus, that is the producer surplus. As is evident from both, the areas of both have shrunk. Now there is a new area of surplus as represented by the blue quadrangle. I call this government surplus, which is nothing but the tariffs imposed by the government. But most significant of all this is the red triangle. This is called dead weight loss, or the lost utility from cars which will neither be produced nor consumed as a result of tariffs. Now you can understand what is going to be the real impact of tariffs. That is all. Goodbye for now. Thanks for watching.